Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Randy and it is time for a 24-hour personal readathon. Now, I don't think anyone else is doing a readathon during this time. I don't know. Maybe they are, maybe they aren't. I also don't know when this is going up, but that's fine. I have quite a few books that I want to get to. I'm going to try to read as much as I can. I do have a couple of caveats though. This is not a midnight to midnight reading vlog where I mess up my sleep schedule. I'm finally sleeping more than 3 hours at night. I don't want to go back to that. So, what I'm going to be doing is whenever I start tomorrow, which I'm assuming is going to be 7 to 8, somewhere around that, I will be reading basically from that time to 7 to 8 the next day. So it will be a 24-hour block. However, I will be allowing myself to sleep if I need to sleep. Ideally, I want to find a book that I am so engrossed in that I stay up all night reading, because I miss doing that as a child. Like, I think the last time I did it was reading, what's the Saboteur quadrilogy? I can't think of what it's called. I said Empire Storm in my head, and I'm like, that's not right. Anyways, that book. Yeah. I haven't done it since then, and I haven't really had anything that I've enjoyed so much where I've stayed up, like, I'm like, oh, it's the next day. The only 3 things I could think of was that book, that series, Torch Against the Night, and then book 1. The My Music, like, YouTube channel, which was a very weird thing that the Fine Bros did, but it was this entire sitcom thing. I stayed up till 6 a.m. watching that. This was back when I was young. And Parasite. I stayed up like all night consuming this media, and I have not done it since. And considering I made a My Music reference, that shows how long ago it was. That being said, if I can find a book that makes me do that, that'd be great. I think I have some that might do that. But if I don't, and I'm like, I need to sleep, that's fine. I do have my protein shakes, and I do have energy drinks. So, like, I have the potential to stay up all night. But, like, I'm not going to force myself to do it. So let's talk about the TBR. I'm not going to talk about any of the Libby stuff, because I don't remember what they are off the top of my head, and they're on my phone, which I'm filming on. So I'm going to talk about the physical books I have. First one is the Hamilton book. This is on my TBR. I'm on page like 78, which doesn't look like that much, but I'm hoping this book doesn't take me too long because it is like double columned. However, there are a lot of pictures in it. I have been skimming through the lyrics because I know them, because I went through a Hamilton phase, which is why I own this book. More importantly, I'm just like, I should have read this back in my Hamilton phase, and I did it, and now I'm bearing the consequences of my actions. It's fine. Next up is Box in the Woods by Maureen Johnson. I'm only on page like 19, so I'm not that far into this. I really enjoyed the Truly Devious series. This is the book that delineates from that entire mystery in the first 3 books, but it still follows Stevie. I don't know how I'm going to feel about this because, again, I read those for the Ellingham mystery. I didn't read it so much for Stevie. And now that I'm more conflicted with true crime, I don't know how I'm going to feel following, a true crime junkie. Especially if, Maureen Johnson completely ignores that entire discussion that people have had lately about true crime. I know there's another book that comes out after this, but I feel like that whole discussion has been going on since maybe this book has come about. So, again, I don't know how I'm going to feel about it. Also, I have Power of Myth by Joseph Campbell. I was supposed to have read this back in high school. I didn't. I'm on page 92, and it's taken me 8 months to get to this point, so we'll see what happens. I'm trying to make this quick, because no one wants to see a long-ass opening. It's fine. Let's move on to the books that I haven't started, but I'm like the most excited to read these. I do have a shit ton of other books. Don't worry. I have plenty of books. I have too many books. It's a problem. It's fine. It's fine. First one, which I should be able to finish, is This One Summer by Mariko and Jillian Tamaki. Or Tamaki. Not Tamaki. Tamaki. I read Laura Dean is Breaking Up With Me, which is the only arc I've ever had in my, like, possession. Well, physical arc, not e-arcs. I've had a few. I have no idea what this is about, but I got it at my indie bookstore. The artwork doesn't look terrible, but it's not my favorite style of art. We'll see if the story saves it. More than likely, I will be trying to get rid of this at the end, which is fine, because I'm very picky about artwork. There's a reason I'm selling all of my Attack on Titan series. Fortunately, I only own 2, but still, again, I just don't like Hajime Isayama's style. I mean, I have other stuff that I'm trying to get rid of too, but it's not because of art. But Attack on Titan is. Next up are the 2 that I'm the most excited about, and I think these are the 2 books that I have that will definitely keep me up reading. First one is Heart Principle by Helen Huang, and I swear I will read just about anything that she writes now. I don't remember who this follows, but I think I've heard people say that this isn't like the other books that she's written, so I'm way too excited for this, okay? I'm very excited. I think I have read like 4 pages. I don't know why I didn't like completely devour it. Probably because my brain is like, you have 10 million other things to do. You don't have time to sit around and write. And the next one, this is going to be a potential case study for me. I am way too excited. This is her debut novel. I'm so excited, and I don't know how I've been able to keep myself from reading this, other than the fact that I had this on my TBR in January, and that was when I was in like a depression pit for months. It is Long Kali's I Fell in Love with Hope. I've been waiting to read this. Long Kali is amazing. I've been following her on TikTok since the end of 2020, when she would talk about anime and things like that, and talk about like her fan fictions and how like so many people have cried from them. And now she has a book that's like, it's beautiful and poetic, and I'm only going off of the things that she has mentioned on her TikTok. I'm so excited for this book, okay? I'm so excited for this book. I don't understand how more people haven't talked about it, other than the fact that they're like, it's too sad, I can't do it. I'm way too excited for this. Also, I haven't done sprayed edges because I don't know what to do. I'm excited for this. It is a self-published debut novel that got her on the Goodreads Awards for debut novel. She didn't win. But the fact that as an indie author, you know, and it's not like she did like this massive amount of like, you know, marketing and things like that, or like her book went viral. It's just, she's so good. So I'm excited. So those are the 6 books ideally I want to get to. Again, I have a shit ton of audiobooks. And also I'm going to be working on other things. I have quite a few things already planned out that I want to get to tomorrow. But it's going to be raining all day, which is the perfect time for reading. I am going to go. Hopefully I will be coherent enough to start the vlog and show y'all, hey, it is the start of the 24 hours. But I want to at least do this part early so that I'm not trying to explain it and then being like, but there's B-roll of me like starting. Like, I didn't want to do that. So I was like, you know what, we'll just do it the day before. It's fine. Also, this is the second time of me filming this. I didn't really shorten this down. It's fine.
Macmillan Audio presents Small Town Sins, written by Ken Jaworowski. Read for you by Jennifer Blom, Chris Chula, and John Corolla.
We're about 1 hour in. I've barely fixed my hair, so it's still a mess. I already have my first DNF. I started reading Small Town Sins by Ken Jaworowski. I'm about a quarter of the way through. I'm 28% of the way through. I genuinely only care about one point of view, and that is Andy's point of view. I genuinely don't care about the other 2. Like, I will randomly get books off of Libby, and I'll just put holds on them, especially if they're new, just to be like, you know, let's see how it works. Honestly, I just don't care. Like, I really don't. Like, at all. Like, and I'm just like, oh my god. Like, so I'm dropping this one. Now I gotta figure out what I'm gonna read next. It's actually, like, starting to look a little bit murky and cloudy. So I'm probably gonna do some physical reading. I don't know where I'm gonna do it though, because this chair doesn't get super comfortable. I am also tempted to read Baby Teeth because there is an audiobook for it as well through Libby. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure at all. We'll see. Okay, so I'm gonna be all over the place with this video because I'm actually filming another video. But I'm reading Box in the Woods now. I'm on page 83. I decided to do a murder mystery thing because I am tabbing it a bit with clues. It's actually kind of interesting. The murder is actually fairly interesting because there is a copycat serial killer. There's this mass murder that happens. 4 camp counselors are dead after they like sneak off into the middle of the night to go hook up and smoke pot. And it's like years later, it's like 30 plus years later, and like it hasn't been solved, and it's like there is some definite like police terrible work going because they like destroy like evidence is just gotten rid of because they're like, well, we can't connect this to the woodsman, so get it out of here. You know, that just happens in small towns. It's interesting. I've been doing an entire murder mystery video. I don't know when it's going to come out. I'll probably be wearing the same damn thing because I'm going to try to finish this book today. It is actually really capturing my interest. And I think it's more of the crime than, like, Stevie. Which sounds bad. Okay, it's like a little bit under 400 pages, so I have about 300 pages to go. Let's just keep rolling. I'm gonna see how much left of the audiobook I have. Because I do have the audiobook out from Libby. So I'm about a fifth of the way through this. So I have about 7 hours for the audiobook. Let's see if I can get into it. What time is it? It's almost 3 p.m. and I've just now finished my first book. I finished Box in the Woods. I think I'm gonna give it 4 stars. One thing I really do like about this, I have an entire Did I Solve This Mystery? I have an entire, like, what is this called? Dry erase board, which I'm now going to erase, which is a little bit sad, but I am really glad that I am filming other content, because it is really fun, but I do need to find a better place to film. There was one detail, one character that was, like, never mentioned. Like, they're mentioned once and never mentioned again. And it bugs me to no end. And it just feels like it's... And I don't know. And it could have just been that it was, like, for dramatic effect. And it was like, oh, yeah. Because then they bring up a different character. It's a little detail that bugs me. But I will say that this also does bring up the concepts of basically the consumption of true crime. These are someone else's real life pains, and do I have the right to go through and consume it like media, like entertainment? And it's really interesting because you have on 2 different sides. You do have Stevie who is questioning it. She's like, this isn't like Ellingham where, you know, everyone's long dead. You know, no one is alive to really have the pain ripped out of them again. You know? Whereas Box in the Woods is. She's talking to people that were there. She's talking to people that had to suffer through all of it. And she's like, do I have the... She's like, I don't know how I should feel about this. Because there is a part of true crime that is very entertainment based, you know, where they are exploiting victims, they are exploiting them for people to make money, and that is who Carson kind of represents, and especially considering that it is a big CEO who really has like nothing to do with it, and it's just some rich tech bro who's just like, I want to solve this thing, and I'm gonna throw money at the issue. And so it is really interesting who he doesn't care about who he's hurting. You know, he basically, you know, pays like all this money to buy the camp, to like pay for like library renovations, to basically butter up everyone to be like, hey, this is what we're going to do. And I think a lot of the people saw that, like, Carson was full of bullshit. And then Stevie felt so uncomfortable in that moment, they were willing to talk to her. So I do like that in terms of consuming things like true crime. Because there is a part of it that is bringing attention to these things. Especially if they're unsolved. You know, it's like you get them back into the media light and get the cops to solve it. Because in this one, the cops fucked up. Now the question is, how much was that just they're idiots and did not realize that this was much bigger than they thought it was? And how much of it was planned? It's not something that the book goes into, but it is something that is brought up time and time again of bumbling police forces. And sometimes, unfortunately, it does come down to other people to solve these because the police are incompetent with these. But it comes down to how you do it and things like that. And I think that this book really does kind of shine a light for a YA audience. It's not as nuanced as probably something an adult would be, because I don't think that, like, the bad person, actually I should say bad person, because Carson's just a tool altogether. Like, it's so obvious that it's like he has no skin in the game. Like, he has nothing to do with it. Like, it doesn't matter if this, you know, goes about or doesn't. It means nothing to him. He has no personal connection to it. He has absolutely nothing. He sees this thing that's up for sale. He sees that he can buy it. He knows that he doesn't even look at it as in being like, I want to help solve this to just make the world better. He's like, I want to make a podcast or a television show out of it and get a return of investment. As opposed to Stevie, who's like, I want to solve this crime, who is having these second thoughts and brings up to people, she's like, you know, you don't have to, you know, tell me what you want to tell me. And she's like, I'm just going to record this for my own self. This has nothing to do with the podcast. It's another thing where, like, when another murder happens, like in current day, Carson gives her like a mic and it's like, try to get witness testimony. And she like shoves it so far in her pocket where that audio is like, no, like you can't use it anymore. So you can kind of see where like Stevie is having like kind of conflictions, but at the end of the day, you do kind of see Stevie trying to, you know, solve this stuff for the sake of bringing about justice, as opposed to getting any sort of, you know, fame or fortune out of it. So it is really nice. I don't know what I'm going to read next. I think I'm going to pull up another audiobook. For the sole fact that I want to get some other stuff done. I do have a paper craft that I want to work on. So I think I'm going to do that. I need to see what is going to be due next. Box in the Woods can go. It's funny, I actually got the audiobook and then I never used the audiobook. It's fine. Okay, I think I might read and Break the Pretty Kings, which I know nothing about this. It is 13 hours long. So I'm probably going to read some of this while I do that paper craft. I'll try to like do like a time lapse of it. And then I'll jump back in and talk about how and Break the Pretty Kings goes. I just like the title of it. And also the cover looks cool. Anyone that has fire abilities is just like, okay, yeah, you're cool. Okay, I'm back in this spot. Don't worry. I was standing over at my workspace for the past like 2 to 3 hours working on this thing, and I am now 34% of the way through it. The Fiancé's Farce by Alexandra Belfleur, which is about 130 pages, which actually like doubles what I've read so far today. It puts me at 271. I'm not reading as much. However, we haven't even hit the halfway point. I wish I was further in, but I did have this audiobook going slower. I only had it on 1.5. And I usually have my audiobooks cranked up higher. And it's fine. I'm trying to tell myself it's fine that I'm not reading like 10 books an hour. Although I kind of want to. I am really enjoying Fiancé's Farce, though. It is really enjoyable because what I thought was going to end up potentially being a third act plot, which was basically the misunderstanding of why Tansy, like, knew her cousin, Tucker, aka Fucker, which is really great because everyone in Gemma's family is a Nepo little bitch. Granted, Gemma is also a Nepo baby, but I feel like with Gemma, she understands it and isn't just accepting the world, like, bow down to her. I am really liking the story. It is really fun. It's really cute. They're at the engagement party. It is giving me a little bit of, like, Cinderella vibes. And I have to be honest, Cinderella is probably my least favorite Disney film. It's just something about how it's, especially retellings, how it's always done. And I don't really like it. I don't know if that's the point of this one. I don't know if I'm going to finish this today because I do want to get some physical reading done. And I'm very tempted to take a bath because my back hurts. Because I'm secretly a 90-year-old woman. So, about 3 hours later, this is finally done. It is messed up. I forgot Kageyama's, like, hair. I think I messed up something on Asahi. It's not perfect. But it's done, and it took me a third of a goddamn book to finish. This thing was such a pain, and I am, like, really seeing the weird part of Kageyama, and we're not even going to talk about Suki's glasses. But I just wanted to show, this is done, and I'm, like, a third of the way through Fiancé's Farce. Lovely. Final update for today. I am still going to be reading until 8 a.m. tomorrow, and that's before adding stoppage time. I'm at chapter 20 of Fiancé Farce, which is about 79% of the way through. I'm actually really enjoying it because right now, I feel like we're going to be hitting the third act conflict, and I think it's going to have something to do with Tucker. I am going to possibly be spoiling this, but I am enjoying it. Like, so far, nothing has really felt like it's going to be, like, a miscommunication thing. Like, their communication has actually been pretty good, which has been great. Like, it's one of those things that it's like, I'm really glad that they're not being like, oh, we're gonna, like, be problematic about this stuff, which I'm just happy about. Because if there's one thing I really hate is when, like, the third act conflict is very stupid. And it's just like, this makes no sense. Y'all are being very dumb. And I think with Fiancé Farce, like, they've done, like, a good job communicating things with each other, you know? Anytime any of... What is her name? I want to call her Jamie. And it's not that. Darcy. Darcy? No. Something C. Gemma. Why did I get Darcy? Tansy, that's who I'm thinking. Okay, so anytime, like, Gemma's family, that's why I was thinking Jamie. I don't know why. Anytime, like, Gemma's families come to, like, do some underhanded, like, shit to Tansy, like, Tansy has always been upfront about it. Gemma's always been upfront about everything with, like, her family for the most part. I don't think there's really any secrets or anything that can kind of come between them. There's, like, sudden reveal of this information. I don't think that's gonna happen, and I'm really glad about it. There is something that happens, and I feel like the third act conflict is going to be more of a external factor than an internal factor, which I really like, because a lot of the times the internal third act conflicts end up being miscommunication, and I absolutely hate it. Again, like, if you want me to believe that these people are going to be a couple at the end of the series, why the hell are you making it about, like, them basically being like, oh, I just didn't tell you this, but, like, trust me, we end up becoming a couple at the end. I hate it. I really do. It's not that late. It's 9 p.m. I still have some of my energy drink left, but I am going to get in bed and just read, because I'm kind of at the point that my back is hurting a little bit from putting the paper craft together. I will say, it was fun. It was actually really fun. But my god, I hated some of those small details, particularly Suki's glasses, and I have found about 4 to 5 pieces I forgot to put in it. In my defense, they would have it, like, you'd have, like, a black background, and then you put another one over top of it for no reason, and then random shit. I did mess up Kageyama's hair, I did mess up Suki's glasses, and I think I also messed up Asahi's hair. But, like, other than Kageyama's hair, which was, like, the side piece that I looked and it just completely glossed over. All of them were very fine details. Like, Suki's glasses were, like, little thin strips, and I'm like, oh my god. Like, it was so hard to, like, precisely do this, and I'm like, who the and it probably also doesn't help that I have the cheapest glue alive that I was using, but I'm like, who the hell is going to have, like, glue that would work this precise? And I will say that my glue stick is, like, kind of destroyed. If you guys can, like, see all of, like, kind of the cross-hatching in it. And that was just to get the little, like, holder pieces in. It looks really nice. I just now need to find somewhere to put it. I did try to get started on a print. It did not go very far. I might actually stay up a little bit later because I do want to do some stretching, and I have my water I need to finish, and I have my journaling. Again, like, I've been kind of slowly chugging my energy drink throughout the day, so I am feeling pretty good, but I have the feeling I'm going to go lay in bed, and I'm just going to be out. Because plan is probably once I finish Fiancé Farce, then I'm just going to kind of physically read until I crash. Which is why I have, I think it's the Cat Diary of Yon and Mew. I think that's what it is. It's the cat manga by Junji Ito. Which, it's like horror comedy, which is a little bit different than what Junji Ito usually does, because Junji Ito usually does horror that's going to, like, just destroy you and, like, you know, fuck with your brain. So, there's that. So, I am gonna get some sleep tonight. I know I am, but I probably won't be asleep till, like, midnight. So at least I have a few good hours left of reading, and I think I have at least an hour left of Fiancé Farce. At least a couple hours. Because I think it's like 3 hours left in the audiobook, but I've cranked it up to 2 to 2.5 speed. So, yeah. Because also, I have on my broken phone, I do have, like, a coloring app that I like using right now. And I like doing this because it is kind of helpful. I've been using Color Fan, which is basically a bunch of, like, anime, Pokemon, things like that. Like, they have Demon Slayer, except all the colors are, like, off. Which I know people don't care about this, but I feel like doing stuff like coloring apps and things like that is, like, really nice when you're reading an audiobook because you're not thinking. Like, there are other games that you can always play, like phone games and things like that. Like, I've gotten to the point where I'm in My Hero Ultra Impact where I don't have to, like, think and read and stuff like that. Mainly because I know the moves. So I don't necessarily need to read. But, like, something like a coloring app is really nice because then you don't have to think. However, the colors aren't exact. Like, tell me, why does Sanemi have Rengoku's color scheme? Like, why does he have Rengoku's color scheme? Like, it doesn't make sense to me. That is technically the 24 hours. So if you're like, I don't care about the stoppage time, I don't care about the fact you slept. If you slept, that's your choice, that's your fault. You know, however you want to go about it. That is completely up to you. However, for me, I'm going to keep going for another, oh gosh, I don't want to show my steps because my steps are good. 5 hours and 5 minutes. But I did want to talk about everything that I've read up until now. So, I have finished The Box in the Woods and The Fiancé Farce. I finished both of those. Oh, and I did also finish up, I forgot about this, Cat Diary Yonen Mu by Junji Ito, which I think might be a little bit like a biography of his cats, but told in, like, a horror comedy way. I go back and forth so much with Junji Ito's artwork. There are times that I like it, and there are times that I don't like it. I go back and forth. There is nothing I can do about it. It just is what it is. But I did finish that. I also got started in 3 other books. I got a chunk of the way through Hamilton.
Okay, Fiancé Farce, Magus, Dirty Laundry, Hamilton started.
This is really weird. And I went through and I double checked all my math to do it. I read an additional 434 pages overnight. Granted, I finished up Fiancé Farce. I read all of Cat Diary Yonemu. Then this morning, I started reading Magus at the Library. Also started Dirty Laundry, which is like a kind of just like ADHD for adults and like ways to like kind of work around that. And then I've read about 70 pages of Hamilton because I've been listening to it through audiobook. Technically I read 878 pages during this 24 hour. I'm gonna do a little wrap up in case, like, for the people that don't care about stoppage time and all of that, y'all can just go about your merry day. I think it was a really good decision to kind of just switch over and start doing ebooks, because I think that was just helpful. I mean, I was able to lay in bed. I didn't have to worry about, like, well, if I fall asleep reading, like, if I listen to an audiobook and fall asleep, then I have to figure out where I'm at. I think doing ebooks, like, at night was really helpful. I wish I had gotten into more stuff, but I did finish up Box in the Woods, Fiancé Farce, and DNF. Oh, okay, so I read Box in the Woods, Fiancé Farce, Cat Diary Yonemu, and then DNF Small Town Sense. All in all, finishing 3 books is pretty damn good. In the next 5 hours, what I'm calling my sleeping stoppage time, I am hoping to finish Hamilton, and maybe if I can finish Dirty Laundry, that would be great. The audiobook is only about 4 hours long, and if I can finish up Magus at the Library, that'd be fantastic. Ideally, I wish I had gone to some of my other books, but, you know, it is what it is. But we'll see what else I can get to, because 5 hours is a lot of time, and granted, I have like 3.5 hours of this audiobook left, but I don't know where all of that is, so I have to kind of figure that out. But I am just very interested in continuing into this, because this is a chonky book that I have, so if you're, you know, you don't care about me adding stoppage time, by all means, hope you guys enjoyed. But if you want to see what I finish in the next 5 hours, because I wanted to let myself sleep, let's roll. And that is time. Okay, I'm late by like 5 minutes. In my defense, I've done plenty of like break clips that have lasted longer than 5 minutes. So like, I feel okay about that. Oh gosh. Hold on. I'm not trying to figure out my numbers. I should have figured out my numbers before this. Okay, I have my numbers. I am really excited. In the span of like this 24-hour plus reading vlog, which basically I gave myself 24 hours to dedicate to reading, along with giving myself sleep, which was really nice. I read almost 1,600 pages. What the fuck? What the fuck? And the best thing is, I actually finished 6 books and DNF'd 1. So, physically, I finished up Hamilton by Lin-Manuel Miranda. This just went through a lot of the behind-the-scenes stuff of making the iconic Broadway production. This one's Summer by Mariko and Jillian Tamaki. This is about like a girl's coming of age-ish. I don't know how old she is. I think she's like 11 or 12. Dealing with like, you know, becoming a woman and like learning like human sexuality and whatnot and misogyny. Then I finished up Maureen Johnson's Box in the Woods. So these are the ones that I physically own. I also finished up Fiancé Farce by Alexandra Balfour. I finished up Junji Ito's Cat Diary, Yonemu. I finished up the Magus, the Library of Magus? Is that what is it called? Magus of the Library. There we go. I keep wanting to say Ancient Magnus Bride, and I'm like, no, that's not it. Magus of the Library. And also Dirty Laundry, which is like kind of like, basically, I'm going to just say the full title and hopefully that makes sense. Dirty Laundry, why adults with ADHD are so ashamed of what we can do to help. Which was really interesting because you kind of get to see like how like someone with ADHD or like / neurospicy brain is looking at something that they have to do, and that's how their brain is interpreting it, and then you can also see how it might look from like a neurotypical person. I have not technically been diagnosed with ADHD, but every time I see anything involving ADHD, I feel like I have quite a few of the things. Sometimes I feel like I don't, and then I'm just like, I genuinely have no idea what the fuck is wrong with me. So I always try to read some of these because I feel like they kind of fit the most. This also coincides with the I should probably go to therapy levels. I should. Do I? No. So I finished those. Actually, that's 7. I have these 3. Then I have... Yeah, I finished 7 books. And then I also read 20 pages of The Power of Myth by Joseph Campbell. Here's the thing. I have an audiobook from this from Hoopla. It has taken me 8 months to get through, like, to where I'm at now. I read 20 pages during this last little bit, which is great. It is one of those books that I am having to take a slow-ass time reading, which makes me so confused why this would have been assigned just for summer reading. Like, you wouldn't think it'd be that bad, but if you're reading it for, like, depth, yes, it's going to take longer. Granted, I probably could have read this in 2 months if I dedicated a lot of time. But then we also had other books that we had to read. I am sad I did not get to these 2, which I was the most excited about. It's fine. It's fine. Then again, I wasn't planning on dedicating so much time to reading Fiancé Spars. I wasn't planning on reading all of it. I was just doing it while I was working on the Haikyuu paper craft, which I don't have. It's in a different room, so I don't get, like, knocked over and destroyed and cry because I spent so much hours. But I wasn't planning on, like, reading that entire book. But, all in all, I'm happy with the progress I made. Like I said, finished 7 books, got into an 8th book, and I DNF'd a book. Totaling almost 1,600 pages. 1,577. That's a fucking lot. Now, of course, there are going to be some people that are like, graphic novels don't count. In which case, I really don't care. Like, this is a book. This is in book format. But I'm going to count it. Also, it's just really nice to be able to kind of pick something up and then put it back down. Pick something up, put it back down. Especially right before going to bed, so that I'm not trying to figure out where I'm at. Like, overall, I feel this was an absolute success. I'm very excited. I kind of want to do another one of these. I really like doing these challenges, but Spookopoly-thon is next month. And while I am away, I am going to try to do stuff for that. I don't know what I'm going to do. I do want to do at least 1 week where I'm just trying to see how much I can read and doing rolls as I go. I have several different videos that I want to film while I'm away, so that's always an option. But, again, for reading as many pages as I did during this time, like, I feel fucking fantastic about it. Like, it feels great. But that's going to be it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Let me know of any other reading challenges you want to see down below from me. I would love to do them. I am contemplating doing, like, the replacing my screen time with reading time one. I've done it before. I've tried doing it before. It's always been a little bit wonky. I might do that. I might do another 24-hour. I might try to do, like, another 24-hour, but with specific genres. I don't know. So let me know what y'all would like to see. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye.